Hi, this is Florence Carmela and James Patrick of the Forum Celebrity Podcast. And we're here tonight just to talk about what everyone's been talking about, which is the raid on Diddy's home, both Los Angeles and Miami, from Homeland Security. So obviously, there's a lot going on, and we have some things that we wanted to talk about and sort of share some information. If you're on social media, then you already know what's going on. This has been a big story, and we'd just like to share some of our thoughts with you.
Okay, the first thing is involved is that P. Diddy's home obviously was raided. Everybody's reporting it in Miami as well, on an island in Miami, near Miami, and also in LA. It was the same area where Hugh Hefner had his home. So parties were the norm over there, but still was raided. Diddy was not there. He was actually TMZ, which is everywhere.
Yes.
They found him at the Miami airport in a private jet leaving. So he definitely wasn't going to go see the feds.
Yeah, his sons were at the house.
Yep. So but he wasn't around. So now the reason why this is such a huge deal is usually if you want to buy off local cops, that's semi fairly easy. There's just a huge history of big cities, Chicago, New York, LA, of buying off cops, and the history of it is a very long one. Not that all cops are bad, don't want any hate, but it's a fact. So now the problem is that a lawsuit was brought up by the music producer, Rodney Little Rod Jones. I believe it's for $30 million. And the reason why he's such a key figure is that he lived with P. Diddy off and on for about a year. I think it was 13 months. And he filmed everything. Diddy was obsessed with being filmed and what was going on and the partying they did and all that other stuff. So he did it. And Jones is a music producer. He really just wanted to do music. Now, you can go on YouTube and see a lot of the things that he accused Diddy of, and some of it is pretty sick that we're not going to talk about. One thing that he did bring up, which is this is what's the scary part, is he brought up the RICO Act. And that was created in 1970 by Richard Nixon to actually fight the mafia. So what that does is that is the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, and it's literally meant to target organized crime. Now, the big thing about this is that he claims that Diddy was not only involved in, there was drugs, there was weapons running, and obviously underage boys and girls, whatever things going on. And these are all alleged, so we're not saying that they happened, but do the math. And this is what they were trying to get. Obviously, they take your computers, your clothes, they do anything. They take pictures of rooms that they said certain things happen in. They do everything. Now, another thing, I've really been into hip hop since literally the 80s, for some of you were born. I've UTFO and Houdini and Sugar Hill Gang and Curtis Blow. I loved hip hop from the start and rap. So I've always been involved in this, and I was a huge Tupac fan. So when he died, I really kind of got into all this stuff and some of the videos by Vlad and other people, and I watch a million of them. So it's very interesting to me. Now, what ended up happening is another thing many of you will know is the shooting of G, which was Combs and his son G were in a bathroom, I believe at his house. And when he heard a shot, Jones heard a shot and he went in there, and all of a sudden G was in the fetal position. G was a friend, I believe, of Combs' son. And he was bleeding and he was just a mess. And eventually what happened is nothing happened. Literally, the police department said that, and some of the guests also just said that he was shot in a drive-by. G then said the same thing, but Jones knew differently. The bathroom was covered in blood. I mean, it was pretty obvious what ended up happening. So that was another thing that he had brought up. But the thing with Jones is he said, literally, I was there to produce music and do things, but I just got involved. He said there was alleged drugs. One night he said he was drugged and he woke up and there was people in bed with him and guys, P. Diddy and two other girls. And he said he didn't know what happened. And it just got really crazy. And so eventually he went to the police. Now some will say, why was he there a year? You tell me. I don't know. I when you're a victim of all this stuff, I don't really question people. You kind of wonder, but you don't know until you're in that situation. You're with people literally who are called gatekeepers. And if there's a gatekeeper, it's P. Diddy for sure. Others could be Jay-Z, Beyonce, and we'll talk about them in just a minute. But they were looking for everything. So that's why P. Diddy obviously didn't want to go there. Now, there's other lawsuits that have gone up. And first of all, let's get into the history of all this. Why is everybody, some even online, why are they bothering P. Diddy? And he's never been convicted of anything, blah, blah, blah. Florence, the first thing that a lot of people talked about was Usher and Justin Bieber. Why don't you kind of give a little synopsis on that?
I think the reason those stories are now resurfacing, and it's something that is really bothersome to a lot of people. And again, this is all alleged. Nobody knows for sure, but we do know that Justin Bieber was introduced into Diddy's world or vice versa by Usher, who again was introduced to Diddy, both minors at a very young age. They were both children. And there's even a video now that's going around. It's on social media. I'm sure everyone has seen it, where a 15-year-old Justin Bieber is hanging out with a 40-year-old Sean P. Diddy Combs. And, talking about 48 hours together and all this other stuff that, again, is alleged, but it is heartbreaking when you think about how young and innocent Justin Bieber was. And again, Usher as well. Usher was a minor. And when
Howard Stern show.
yeah, he talked about it on the Howard Stern show. And when he got into that world, again, Diddy was the one he was hanging out with. Not to say there weren't other people involved or that other people didn't know, but again, the allegations, and nobody knows for sure, but it is something that is being talked about. I know even Justin Bieber was invited to be on stage with Usher for the Super Bowl, and Justin did attend the Super Bowl with his wife, Hailey Bieber, and he declined to be on the stage to do a performance with Usher. He said he'd rather just sit back and watch the game. And again, some people are reading things into that, and some people just say, Justin's just living his life. He's a married man now. He is a man of God. He's found Christ. He goes to church, and he really kind of wants to be out of that life now. And it kind of makes you wonder what did happen to him, if anything, and if Diddy had anything to do with it, again, with Usher, a minor at the time. And nobody knows the truth. But I think that all of these allegations, a lot of people feel more comfortable now coming forward and talking about things. And one of the things that James had just mentioned about why would this man stay at Diddy's house for a year? And there was a lot of videotape, and Diddy liked to be on video. It makes you wonder also if these people are being blackmailed. And again, nobody knows for sure, but when everything's on video, people have things to hold over your head possibly. And yeah, it's hard to say, especially if you're a minor and you're making it big. Do you want this stuff coming out? You know, it's just hard to say, but to me, it's very sad with these minor boys and girls.
Now, Tiffany Red, who's a music writer, music producer, she also is said that she's going to file a 20 million lawsuit against P. Diddy. She is the friend of Cassie Ventura, who was the woman that was his ex-girlfriend that just won a lawsuit against him. Very strange. It was the statute of limitations ran out with all these sexual assaults, but the state of New York said you have 1 year. If it's past the statute, you have 1 year to file it. So she filed it. The next day after she filed it, she was paid off by Diddy, and everything was dropped. Tiffany said she would go there to P. Diddy's, and he would do just horrendous things to her, and God knows what else she was doing. And also, she said that he was ruining her because there was threats made. She wasn't getting paid for what she did. She also called out Beyonce, saying that Beyonce had taken that it was an epidemic that stars, which she called gatekeepers, that were literally in control of the music industry. They were taking their writers' credits, and she said, some of us have Emmys and some of us have awards, Grammys, whatever, and we have no money. We can't even pay our rent because we're not getting paid. We're not getting residuals. We're just getting left out because if we do say anything against it, we are never going to be able to work again. So she said she's going to file a lawsuit. I've checked a million times. I haven't found it. I don't know if she's filed it yet. There's 4 other people that have filed lawsuits against him. Now, I've always thought P. Diddy put the hit on Tupac. No one will make me feel differently about that. I've done, of all the research, and some of my friends in the podcasting world that I know, I've talked to them, and it's a fact that Biggie was going to leave Bad Boy. And Gene Deal, who has pretty much said what's happened in the Tupac shooting and other things for years, he was the bodyguard of P. Diddy. He has a lot of stories when I've walked into rooms. P. Diddy was with certain people. They weren't wearing clothes. I mean, he says a lot of stuff, allegedly. But Deal said when he saw some paperwork with Diddy and it was a contract. Now, if you remember, Mrs. Wallace, Biggie's mom, wrote a book and said Bad Boy paid him $25,000 his first check. Now, to someone like him that was on the streets, it was like winning the lottery. That's a lot of money. The next check he was going to get was $250,000. Now, Gene said he looked at it, but it didn't add producing rights or writing. He didn't have the rights to it. So it was going to be Bad Boy's music, Diddy's. So he told Biggie, what's going on? I see that, and no worries, I'm leaving. And Diddy owed 3 more albums. So what he was going to do is he was going to do a triple album, leave it with Bad Boy, move on to Roc-A-Fella Records. Now, Dame Dash, who was the co-owner of Roc-A-Fella Records, he said that this did happen. He backed up what Gene said and said, yeah, we were going to do that. He was going to take Little Kim, a lot of the people, the commission, whatever, a lot of the people that he was working with, and take it with him to Roc-A-Fella. Now, isn't it funny? When Tupac died, that was the start of the decline of Death Row Records. When Biggie died, that was the start of the elevation of Bad Boy. And that's something that no one ever talks about. I've been saying these things for years, what ended up happening. And I'm shocked it took him so long to get arrested. Now, Gene knows where all the bodies are buried, because RICO Act, you don't need to have specific crimes. Again, you just need to know that this person is involved in all these things. And that's what he can go away. And you go away, not for a year, you go away for 20 years. Another thing, the RICO Act, which is so scary, is that they have license to pretty much take whatever they want. It's not like a regular lawsuit or a scandal where you owe $1 million, whatever. They could take everything, because they could just say with the RICO Act, everything you got is from ill-gotten gains. So you're screwed. Look up the RICO Act and look up the mafia and how they were, semi-destroyed by this, and even politicians. It's amazing how powerful that act was. Nixon was a power-hungry guy. He did a lot of things. If you ever listen to his tapes from back then, he was named. He named Jimmy Hoffa. He put a hit on him. He didn't actually say that, but he says, I have $1 million for this. So there's a lot of things that are said. All these conspiracy theories are crazy, I think. A lot of them are. There's a handful that aren't crazy, and they did happen. So don't go by what everyone says. Do research. Check out videos. Yeah, and I'll leave videos of all the things I'm talking about. We are about facts. I don't give a rip if you're a Republican, You love Trump, you hate Trump. I don't care. I care about what happens and what the facts are. I don't care how it affects me. I want to know the truth and what happened. So those are the things we're talking about. Now, other things that have happened, Meek Mill came out, and I can't believe he did this because now that was a gross video that was out about Meek Mill and P. Diddy being together. It could have been two of anybody being together. Come on. And this was on TikTok. We all know TikTok's the Bible, and it's all true. But Meek Mill, the rumors about him, Gene Deal has talked about it. Other people have talked about it, and he came out 3 weeks ago. He doubled down. He said, I've never had a relationship with P. Diddy. I've never had, whatever's done, whatever. I've done nothing with him. They're all lies. And most people think that's kind of rubbish. Columbus Short, he came out and he said, I was groomed by P. Diddy. And in fact, when he was married, he said, I was home and P. Diddy called me and asked me to come to a party at his room. And he was in bed with his wife, and he says, well, who's there? And he said, me. And he goes, no, I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay here. So, it's, what did Kat say, Florence?
Cat Williams.
When P. Diddy asks you to party, you got to say.
Diddy
no, you got to tell Diddy no. So, so that was really interesting. For the most part, they have the feds have had a great history of when they really want to get you, they will get you. That's what cracks me up when people say, oh, I need all the weapons I can get because what if the government comes after me? If the government comes after you, you're toast. And you guys, be real. But the best is not to traffic or not to do criminal activities. But anyway, when you look at this is the beginning of the end for P. Diddy. And I think this is going to make what R. Kelly did look like a picnic. If you're involved in all this stuff, there are a lot of dirty people. There are a lot of cops that are going to, and again, it's all alleged, but I'm sorry. I think there's a lot of things that are going to, and a lot of people are going to fall, and a lot of people are freaked out about this. So this is really, you wonder how deep this goes. And with drugs, weapons, the trafficking, this is going to get as dirty as it gets. Now, some have said P. Diddy may commit suicide. Boy, he seems like a real narcissistic guy, and usually narcissists don't commit suicide. Some may not end up alive, but those are for other reasons other than suicide, and that's something you wonder about him.
Also, the Jeffrey Epstein situation, will he end up like that? Because again, when you have this much going on and you have involved so many people and there's a lot of proof out there, sometimes they want to get rid of that person. Again, allegedly, nobody knows what happened to Jeffrey Epstein. Everyone has their opinions, but I've heard that bantered around as well on social media, that they wonder if it's going to be another Jeffrey Epstein situation.
And look at Big Frank, who was, I really liked he did a lot of podcasts. He was a guest on a lot of podcasts. He ended up committing suicide. And he even said in two podcasts that I remember, he said, if I end up dead by suicide, I didn't do it. He goes, I do not want to die.
I'm not suicidal.
Yeah, I'm not suicidal. I don't want to die. Now, supposedly he got in a big old fight with his girl and he ended up dead and shot in the head, whatever. And that always freaks me out. There's a lot of people. Look at the whistleblower for Boeing. That guy ended up dead, and he told all his friends and family, I am not suicidal. I do not want to die. And all of a sudden they're dead. And so Russia has an art form of it. I mean, they use every form. So with Putin. So this is really going to get deep. This is really going to get dirty.
Just the beginning. And
I think that people are going to be shocked at what's happening. I think the mainstream media, a lot of you guys that I become friends with and I follow this stuff, it's stuff you don't really talk about with regular people because they just look at you like you're crazy. But we know kind of what's going on. Some of you I didn't want to make a real hardcore show because it would lose some of the audience, and I didn't want to make it soft either because I didn't want to insult your intelligence, because a lot of you that follow this are going to say, wow, we know this, but boy, this is going to get deep, ugly. We're going to keep you abreast. The Alec Baldwin thing, oh, that's going to be crazy.
This
So we
summer.
want to, so we got a lot of stuff going on. We're going to do the true crime stuff and keep you guys posted. But thank you all for watching us. Our numbers are going up, and you guys, it's just, we're very, very appreciative.
Thank you
Please,
for your support.
and please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. We usually don't like to bug people, but if you could do that, that helps out our channel and it helps us to grow. So take care. Everyone have a wonderful day and evening. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.